I swear this will be the last video with this LS on the ground and not in the car. And the reason it's there is because today we are diving into the accessory drive system, which can get a little confusing, especially if you're new to the LS world like I am, because there's so many different variants, there's so many different cars that came with LS-based engines. It's hard to pick what alternator you want, power steering, water pump, etc., etc. So let's do a deep dive on all that stuff. I'm gonna show you guys what I got, why I got it, and hopefully it will help you pick out an accessory drive for your LS swap. If you're not familiar with LS engines and all their variants, it can be real easy to get confused by how many options there are. Because it is such a popular swap, there is an option for everything. And depending on who you ask, they're gonna tell you to do one thing and then the next guy's gonna tell you to do something else, and they're gonna tell you, oh, well, you gotta run F body accessories or G body or Z body. I don't even know what any of that stuff is. Some people will say Corvette's the way. A lot of guys will say truck stuff's the cheapest and easiest to get. And really, there's no wrong answer. All of the parts will work as long as you keep them in the same family. But there are parts that are better than others depending on your application. To make it simple, you can break down the LS accessory drive into 3 parts. And these 3 parts dictate the spacing of the part off the front of the engine. So here's my water pump, and you can see where that pulley is in relation to the engine. That's what I'm talking about. Same with the crank pulley, how it sits pretty close up against the front of the engine. 3 types. And Corvette, CTSV, they're the same thing. That's gonna be your slimmest. It's gonna put all the accessories closest to the front of the engine. The next step is gonna be your Camaro, GTO, Firebird, anything in that family. That's gonna be your middle ground. That's gonna put the accessory drive kind of in the middle, not super close up against the front of the engine and not sticking way far out. And the third one is all the truck stuff. The truck stuff sits way further out, and that's great if you have a ton of room or if you're putting this stuff in a truck. Like I said, they all work as long as you keep everything in the same family so that your pulley system is on the same plane. Right? When I say plane, I mean like this. So water pump, crank pulley are in a line. If I was to get an alternator that sat out here, it would be out of line and would not work, right? And a truck alternator with the truck alternator bracket would sit way further out than all of this stuff. So whatever you pick, it's important that you stick to that family, whether it's Corvette, Camaro, F body, G body, whatever letter body, or truck stuff. To further illustrate this, the crank pulley I have on here is not a truck one. This is a truck one. And you can see, if I lay it down flat, just how offset it is. So this would be the front of the motor, and then it sticks out this much further. Whereas what I have on here doesn't really stick out at all. Now that's because I went with Corvette stuff. To me, it makes the most sense. It's all gonna be closest to the engine. It's gonna be the most compact setup, which is important if you wanna save space. You wanna push everything further back on the car for better weight distribution, gives me more room for a radiator. And if you think about it, out of all the cars, Corvettes and their accessories are designed for the highest RPMs if you're comparing them to the cars, or especially comparing them to a truck. So with that in mind, their stuff should last a little bit longer. Another reason I specifically picked Corvette stuff is because a lot of the guys I compete against in Hot Pit and other series drive Corvettes. And a lot of these Corvettes are pretty stock engine setups, right? Maybe they'll have built engines and stuff, but they're gonna have fairly stock accessories. And a lot of these guys carry stock replacements. So if I have an alternator go out or something random go out, there's a good chance that somebody's gonna have that. If I'm running truck stuff, nobody's gonna have that unless I'm stealing it off their tow truck, which I guess I could take it off my own truck, but I don't wanna do that. So little things to keep in mind. Maybe get with your friends and see what they're running, and if you're doing a bunch of track days together, you guys can all kind of have the same spare parts, but that's what came to my mind, and that's the reason we're doing Corvette stuff on this build. As you saw, the water pump's already on, so that is just a factory Corvette water pump. It's a factory Corvette crank pulley. And now we move on to the accessories. And this is where things get kind of fun, because once you pick the offset spacing, in my case we did Corvette, so it's closest to the engine. Now you get to pick where you want to mount everything. And you can use factory brackets, and then you're limited to wherever they're supposed to go. But we didn't do that. With LS brackets, one of the biggest name in the game is ICT Billet. They make brackets for alternator, power steering, air conditioning, whatever you want on your LS, and however you want it. And they make it really simple. If you go on their website, you literally click, I think they have it broken down into like -1, which would be your Corvette stuff. -2 would be all your Camaro, GTO, etc. -3 would be truck. And you just pick what offset spacing you want. And then from there, you can decide where you want to place your alternator and your power steering and all of that. And they make a bracket for it, which is everything we have on the table there. So factory alternator. That is not a factory Corvette power steering pump, but it is a stock replacement. We'll touch on that in just a bit. Let's start by getting this mounted, which means we need one of these brackets. Okay, so here's what we're dealing with. Like I said, they make it really simple. -1, that's our offset. And I went with a low mount alternator, which is gonna put the alternator down on the bottom part of the engine, kind of in line with the crank pulley. You could see it there. And this came with the cool billet bracket, the little tensioner pulley, all the bolts, washers, spacers, whatever, everything you need to get it on. This is why this stuff is so confusing to me. There's just too many variants of all this stuff. So the bracket I got is made for Corvette spacing. It may have said specifically what alternator to buy or what alternator not to buy, but I bought a Corvette alternator because I figured I'm running everything else Corvette. It makes sense. It doesn't work. It doesn't actually line up. They're different spacing on the brackets, which is kind of hilarious. Okay, brand new Corvette alternator. Here is our cool billet bracket, and doesn't line up. Cool. It does bolt to the engine, and we do have a stock truck alternator. And what do you know? Bolts up just fine. I'll probably end up doing like a DC power high output alternator down the road. For now, we've got a truck alternator here. I think I needed a different plug anyways to run the Corvette alternator, so whatever. But this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. There's just so many options and variants and ways you can go with this stuff that it gets really confusing. I kept this alternator on hand because I wasn't sure which direction I was gonna go. So thankfully I could just return the Corvette one. Hopefully this truck one's good. This was a running motor when I got it, so fingers crossed there. Let's throw this thing on. There we go. Shiny billet bracket on a crusty truck alternator, that'll work. But you can see it lines up just fine. So our alternator is now in line with our crank pulley. Even though it's not a Corvette alternator, because we have the bracket for Corvette spacing, it's putting everything in the right plane. Almost forgot the idler pulley it came with. Alternator on. Pretty easy once we got the right alternator on. That was probably my fault. I tend not to read fine print. I just kind of go, yep, that's what I need, order it, call it a day, and then stuff like this happens. So I'm sure on ICT Billet's website, they have specifications on exactly what to use. I probably just overlooked it. But let's move on, because we have the power steering next, and this is one I'm actually kind of excited about. Let's actually open their bracket and make sure what I bought works first. All right, same story here. -1, Holden Style LS3 power steering bracket kit. Start with the rear support. That'll be this little guy here. Also, their billet stuff is sick. I mean, I know it's in their name, but like, it's cool. Step 2, this little flat bracket and the cool Allen bolt, which I love. So flat bracket, Allen bolt, and it goes to that rear support we just put on. You can see those holes line up with the threaded holes in the cylinder head. All right, now we've got our bracket bolted to the head, to that little support thing in the back. Let's get the power steering pump on there. All right, power steering went on without a hitch because I actually read the fine print and bought the right pump. Check it out. So this is a GTO or Holden style power steering pump. Cool billet bracket. I think it looks awesome. Nice and low, tight, compact setup. Now the big advantage going with something like this is the reservoir is not part of the pump. A lot of the GM power steering pumps, the reservoir is built into the whole thing. Like the truck one is this giant 2-foot tall piece that has the reservoir for the fluid built into the pump. A lot of the Camaro ones are like that. Granted, they're smaller than the truck ones, but I just don't really like the look. I would rather the reservoir be off to the side, mounted to the car, and then just some lines running to that. So this is what works best for my setup. Again, you can decide what works best for yours. If you do go this route, I think it was a 2005, 2006 GTO power steering pump is what that is. And that's what this bracket is made for as well. So it all kind of works together really nicely. So looks awesome. We've got our alternator or power steering pump on, and we're missing one key thing. We have no way of putting tension on a belt. Once we get a belt on there, the alternator is fixed in place, the power steering is fixed in place, which won't work. You can't get a belt on without being able to loosen something up, and then obviously you have to put tension on that belt so it doesn't slip. So we need a belt tensioner. Hopefully this is starting to make sense. -1, Corvette manual belt tensioner. Brackets, hardware, pulley, instructions. Pretty straightforward. Step 1, you assemble this so that the small bracket sits on the big bracket. That's what's gonna put tension on our pulley. So we will snug this up. You don't want it too tight because we're gonna have to adjust it. And then you've got these little spacers that are gonna space this off of our water pump to give us the correct offset. Now, cool enough, they came with 2 different versions. So these are 0.27 of an inch, and it came with these 2, which are 0.19, which in the instructions say you can use these if you're using an LS1 water pump. We are not, so we'll be using the bigger ones. And then we have our cool billet spacer. This is what our pulley rides on, like that. And now we've got a belt tensioner. Obviously we will measure up a belt, get this set, and then tighten everything down, but pretty straightforward. All right, so we've got all of our pulleys on there, right? Our power steering pump, alternator, and now our belt tensioner, and of course the water pump and crank pulley. So now we do a bit of Googling, figure out how we want the belt to route, and then we measure it. Now the easiest way to measure this is gonna be with a piece of wire. And I'm just gonna tape it to whatever pulley we wanna start from, map it out, and that should give us the length of belt we need. Then we can go to AutoZone, and I'll probably buy a few different belts to see which one fits the best, because we wanna land somewhere in the middle there. That way we have some room to loosen it and some room to tighten it. Okay, so big piece of wire. I've got it routed how I want it. Now keep in mind the belt has to go under the water pump backwards, right? We don't want the rib to side on that. So when you're coming up with routing, got to keep in mind, and we should have enough surface area on pretty much everything to make this work. And we're in the middle of our belt tensioner there. I think that'll work. It's a little close to the thermostat housing, but I think we can make that work with the adjustment we have in that. So let's get this measured and then go buy a couple belts at AutoZone and see what works the best. All right, went up to the parts store, got a few different belts, and let me show you what I found. So as you can see, we have the belt on. Now, in case you were wondering, I measured the piece of wire, ran through this whole thing, and it was 78 inches. As far as belts go, this is what you're looking at. So set the first numbers, sometimes there's a 0 in front here. This indicates your length. K6, it means it's a 6 rib belt, which is what we need here. So I bought exactly 78 inches. I bought 77.5, and I bought 78.5. So I started with the 78 and it was a little too long, went down to the 77.5, and it fits. It looks good except for right here. Super close, basically touching the water pump thermostat housing. Now, like, yes, but I don't think that would work. Maybe it would, but I don't think it would. So the answer here is gonna be a simple one. If we loosen up our belt tensioner and move it down, effectively getting a shorter belt. Look, I'll pick up the slack over here. So as soon as we do that, now there's a finger gap in between our water pump thermostat housing area and our belt. And that's only, I would say, about another ½ inch. So if I go down to a 770, it should fix this problem. I think I'll get a 770 and a 765 and see exactly what fits the best. Because we have quite a bit of play. Like, we can get this all the way down to here and probably take an inch, maybe even 1.5 inches out of here, but now we would be maxed out on the limit, which would make it really hard to like take the belt off. So ideally we want this somewhere in the middle, and then we should be good. So let's go return these, get a few more belts, a little bit smaller of a size, and we'll take it from there. All right, made it back from the parts store. We got a belt that fits, and it fixed our problems. Going with a 763. They didn't have a 765. Apparently that doesn't exist. It goes from 770 to 763, at least at my local AutoZone. So if you're doing this exact same configuration, get this belt. and it looks like this, which actually looks better because it pulled this tensioner down from like way over here down to here. It kind of made it a little more compact, and we still have enough wiggle room to bring this down here so we can actually slip the belt off if we need to. And you can see there is now a good bit of gap between here. I mean, it's still close, but really should be fine. Just to confirm, I'm gonna go ahead and rotate the motor, make sure everything is turning and looking good and that the belt is aligned. If the belt wasn't aligned, you would see it kind of like move on this pulley especially. Everything looks pretty happy. Now, hopefully all that made sense. Once I figured out that there are really only 3 spacing options, it kind of made it easy to me. And as you saw, that doesn't mean you need a Corvette alternator. If you have Corvette spacing, you just need the right bracket, and then you can run whatever alternator you want. So it all just comes down to spacing, and that all comes down to your preference. So hopefully this cleared up some of the confusion. For someone who had no LS knowledge, it took me a little bit to figure all this out, and then once I did, it all kind of clicked. So drop a comment down below, let me know if it clicked for you. And when I said this was gonna be the last video with this engine on the ground, I meant it. Okay, the next video, I think half of it, the engine's out of the car, but we're going back and forth here. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. That's right, we have an LS swapped Z. That's crazy. More on that in the next video, so make sure you're subscribed. Give this video a thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I will catch you in the next one.